Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Oh, hello and welcome to another special edition of Lockdown Hot Takes. I'm your Lodge Master. With me as always is Brother Bishki.
May the road rise up to meet you, Lodge Master.
Oh, thank you so much. Brother Lucas is here.
Titty ho, titty hee, titty ha, top of the day, Lodgecast listeners.
And we have back all the way from the frozen tundra of Minnesota, we have Sister Emma.
Hi. It's the original Ireland, Minnesota.
I toast to you, Sister Emma.
Thank you for having me.
We are here to talk about a movie that is called Wild Mountain Thyme. THYME.
It is one of those things.
It is one of those things. And something happened, like this movie came out, you know, movies just slip out. They just kind of sneak up on you in this weird era in which we live. And this came out, and the only thing I saw about it were a couple headlines that basically just said, what the fuck? And whenever that happens, it's an emergency. I'm like, oh shit, we gotta lock this down. We gotta vet this. We gotta see what's going on here. And that was only amplified when some of the headlines were like, what the fuck? And then what the fuck was up with that twist? So literally all I knew about this movie was that it existed and that there was a twist and that people were having trouble understanding what the fuck was going on with it, which is the perfect recipe for this program.
I rewound certain parts for sure because I was projecting so hard into the movie that I thought certain things had happened, and then I was like, no, wait, let me double check that, and then I was like, nope, I made that up. Like I totally made that part of the story up.
You were trying to make it more interesting.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you when we get there, but it is a journey. It definitely is.
It's a journey. It's a journey to the Emerald Isle. It's a journey. But first, we have to talk about the writer-director. His name is Jon Patrick Shanley, and he has directed 3 movies. 3 wildly different movies.
I love his first one, his debut. I love it.
Joe versus the Volcano.
That's it.
Is one of the hotheads' favorite films. This was Jon Patrick Shanley's vision, and it is quite the vision. Like, that is a strange movie. It's amazing that it got made, and it's kind of a beautiful thing that it got made.
Okay, so I've never seen it.
Wow.
But would that have given me a better headspace to enter this movie into?
No.
Okay, great.
There's nothing that can prepare you for this one. Okay. But he also did the Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman laugh fest Doubt. I'm being facetious. It's about a
nothing funny about it.
A priest that may or may not be a molester.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was widely praised. I personally did not enjoy that film or like it very much.
Same. But that was a cold fish for me.
I thought it was okay. I gave it thumbs up.
It was very dour.
And then, years later, he comes out with Wild Mountain motherfucking Thyme. What is this?
Now, we also must remind our listeners that he also was made famous prior to what got him the Joe versus the Volcano directing job, which was his passion project, was that he wrote the script previously for that Moonstruck with Cher that Norman Jewison directed, but that was like such a phenomenal like pop culture phenomenon.
He could write his own ticket, and that's the only way you could make something like Joe versus the Volcano, and possibly the fact that he made Doubt was the only way that he could make something as bugfuck crazy as this movie.
Yeah.
So what I also know is that this movie originated as a play that he also wrote.
Well, what's crazy is I had zero awareness of this movie, Lodge Master, until you brought it onto our radar. Like
None.
Zero. And I had no
None.
idea what it
Yes.
was because once you were like, stay away from the internet, don't look at anything. I took that at like value and was like, I'm not going to, and I didn't. I went in
That warms my heart.
perfectly
That warms
ice
my heart.
cold into it. So when I was watching it, I was like, why does this movie exist? I kept asking why. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
Yeah, why?
And then at the very end, when it said written and directed by John Patrick Shanley, I was like, what? Like my Joe vs. Volcano, that's my boy. And then I was like,
That was the big twist for you.
Wait, like what book
That was
is
the
he
twist.
adapting? This has got to be like a Flannery O'Connor or James Joyce or something. And it's like, nope, it's a play that he wrote, I guess, which I've never heard of. And I realized, because when I was watching it, before I knew who did it, I remember thinking, like, whoever made this, like, nobody stopped them. Like, nobody said no. They were like, sure, yeah.
Nobody could say no.
Sure, yeah.
Nobody could
not?
say no.
Why
No, because he
not?
was like, I'm it. I'm writing, I'm directing. It's based off my own work.
I'm the guy.
Yeah. Whew.
It's based off my own fever dream. So, Bishki, did you go in clean, or did you muddy the waters, and did you do some research?
Well, I
some
saw
light
the
research?
poster. We can't mention what the poster is yet, but then I
Stay tuned.
and then I knew it was that guy who did Doubt and
Yeah.
Joe versus the Volcano. So I knew those two things. But other
Okay.
than that, I knew nothing of. I knew the cast because of the poster, but other than that, I knew nothing.
So you didn't even know there was going to be a twist.
No.
And Emma, you didn't know anything.
No,
right?
you sent me a screenshot of a movie and you're like,
Yeah.
would you like this? And I was like, yes, I would. And then I didn't look at, the only thing I looked up was the runtime.
Of course, you have to.
So I knew when to
It's a great runtime, by the way.
Yes. I was
Yeah.
so relieved
Yeah.
that it was under 2 hours. But just so I knew when to pick up the Thai food for me and my sister. I needed to like time it out right.
I love that you inflicted this upon your sister
She
too.
wanted to
Like
watch
that
it.
is that's beautiful.
I
That is
checked
so
I checked the
beautiful.
runtime too, just because like I started it kind of late and I was I was kind of tired and I was watching it in bed. Just for the record, I was like lying in bed, like perfect conditions. Had no idea what to expect, and I was so pleasantly surprised at what it was
Ooh.
at first, because I didn't know what it was going to be. But like late at night when you're in bed and you're kind of tired, you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
like this is like, yeah, like I'm getting ready for something.
Uh-oh. He's got some love and light swirling around.
My sister, though, I was like, I can't know anything about it. So you can't tell me anything until I'm
Yeah.
going in, like, I'm diving it straight in, deep end. But she started looking up stuff on her phone
No. Mm-mm.
and was just giggling. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I can't tell you.
Okay. So she was doing it right.
And then I could tell when something was coming up because she'd kind of
She'd be looking at you.
see, yeah,
She'd be side-eyeing you.
yeah. Like, I know it's coming.
That's the perfect scenario for this. So let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea this took place on the Emerald Isle. I had no idea we were going to Ireland for this thing. And I double had no idea that Christopher motherfucking Walken is the narrator of this thing with a Walkenese Irish accent.
For
like,
real.
You've never heard anything like this before.
Top of the day. Like, it was
I am
so jarring.
dead, but you're gonna hear a story.
Welcome to Ireland. My name's Tony Riley. I'm dead.
Why?
Yeah, narrating from the dead.
First of all, I thought he was officially retired from acting, for real. Like I thought
Right, he should
I
be.
thought
He
I thought
probably
his
should be.
last movie was the movie with Pacino and Arkin, like the Goodbye Guys or whatever it was called.
Yeah, one of those bucket list movies.
Yeah.
Where like Al Pacino,
I like the Goodbye
where Al
Guys.
Pacino's like, you die when someone forgets to say your name or whatever. I forget. I never saw it.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
you die and you come back if you're Irish, apparently.
That's right. He says something to the effect of, if an Irishman dies before finishing their story, they're coming back. to finish it, which is vaguely horrifying, especially if you're listening to an Irish Walken.
Right. Okay. And so the picture that you sent me, the tagline is something like, "There's nothing more dangerous than an Irish woman in love." I completely thought I was walking into a thriller. And so I was way confused by the whole thing.
It's a very bright, colorful, lush. It looks like an Ireland tourism video. Like everything just looks super like HD, glorious. Like just like it makes me want to go there.
Just drones of the Irish countryside forever. Yeah.
Like 3D, bleeding off my screen. And I'm thinking like, wow, this is some good resolution.
So Lucas was feeling right. He was in the right mind space for this. We'll see if it bucks him off at any point.
But honestly, I was like, I was snapped to full attention when Walken's Irish VO just kicks off the proceedings. Like what I'm watching, the images and the voice I'm hearing do not go together. It's like
not at all.
It's like a Frankenstein's monster. Yeah. It's like a studio exec's nightmare. Like, oh.
So let's touch on this story a bit if we can figure it out. So Walken is an Irish farmer. We meet his son as a wee boy, and there's a wee neighbor lass who has a crush on him. And then we flash way forward, and then Walken's finally on screen. And the man is
80 years old.
Ancient.
Yeah.
Ancient. Like, there must have been such prestige just around John Patrick Shanley's name that he coaxed him to come out for this free trip to Ireland, and maybe you'll get a, People's Choice Award out of it or something.
I mean, I was worried that it was going to be like a Star Wars. They're going to have to CG him into the end because he doesn't last. He looks old.
Yeah, he's old. And because he's so old, and because he's also Christopher Walken, and his cadence itself is kind of a brand, it's very obvious that no one said anything to him about his accent. They're just like, Walken's going to do whatever he wants. It's not going to sound Irish, but it's going to be something special. And we're just going to let him rock with it.
You act off of whatever he gives you.
Whatever he gives you. And everybody knew the score and was on board with that, which is pleasant. At least they didn't struggle against that. They didn't struggle against the movie's accidental best asset. So we flash forward, we see Walken, and his boy is now Jamie Dornan from the 50 Shades of Grey movies. And he's the only one in this movie who has a decent Irish accent.
Because he's from Ireland.
He's actually Irish. So, and it sticks out like the sorest thumb. Everybody else's accent is so crazy that he seems like he's crazy for sounding the way he is.
I didn't even know that was him. Right. Like, I didn't see the 50 Shades of Grey movie. But I, for some reason, thought he was more butch or like masculine or tougher or something.
There were 3 of them, Lucas, and treat yourself.
So when I was watching him, I was like, is that Jamie Dornan? Like, who is that guy? Like, I just didn't think he was like a leading man or a star. I was kind of like perplexed why they hired him. And I didn't even think he was real Irish because Walken threw me so hard. I was like, nobody's Irish. Yeah. Like, this is all bullshit. Like they shot this like in New York, in the Bronx, and then just had second unit go to Ireland for the exteriors.
And the editing,
it's shot like an episode of ER where the camera's like constantly moving and like everyone's like the camera's dancing around them, and it's like, oh my God. This is not helping. Like, this is so not helping.
And in the tiniest little Irish farmhouse kitchen, no less. So it's like claustrophobic.
It's a horror movie in that kitchen.
I could smell it.
Yes, I said that the editing is menacingly haphazard.
It took me the first 17 minutes of runtime, because I clocked it, to figure out what genre we were in, because you might think we're describing a comedy just based off Christopher Walken, but no. Everything you are seeing is kind of like straight fairy tale. I don't even know what it is. But like 17 minutes in, I realized that it in fact was a comedy.
Is it?
When Walken, because Walken's talking to some widow and is like, a wedding? And the dog is like, a wedding? And there's like a cut of the dog like tilting its head. And I'm like, oh, it's a comedy because the dog tilted its head funny. That's supposed to be funny. Now I know what kind of ball game we're playing.
I wish I would have taken those cues.
Ishki, what were you doing in the early going of this movie? Like, where did you know what genre it was?
I mean, it was romantic comedy. I wasn't laughing. It was like, like I could tell it was based on a play. I was like, this is like, and he didn't adapt it at all. He was just like, I'm taking whatever I put on the stage and I'm putting it on the screen. I'm not going to try to make it more realistic. I'm just going to have the same cuts as I had in the fade outs on the play. And I'm just going to put it right on the big screen for everyone to see because...
I mean, even the camera, like where it was and the layout of each scene felt like you were in a play.
And just for the record, the play did not get very good reviews. So, but he soldiered forth anyway.
I can't believe it.
So, in short order, we meet the manic Irish dream lass, Emily Blunt, who plays the grown-up neighbor girl, Rosemary Muldoon.
And she's got this like red hair that in every scene is like the Irish fiery lass look, where it's just completely blow-dried and primed. If she's been writing, it's like her hair was always fab. Like every scene, it was different.
They were like, she's in Ireland. It needs to be red.
Now, Emily Blunt I think she's a good actor. Like, I've seen her in a few things. I've seen her in a few things where the material lets her down, but she's always solid. In this, I wouldn't say she's one of the solid legs of the table. I don't even know if there are any really, but she's a bit wobbly in this.
But what else? Like, also, what did she have to work with?
Exactly. Like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, what is this?
That was my one note. I wrote, what is this movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Like 4 times.
I said that out loud probably like 10 times. Like, what is this movie?
Why did it get made? Like, why is this movie?
Her accent slips into Jamaican sometimes, which shows you how off the map it is. So there's so many drinking games you can make just surrounding the accents of this. And also, kind of when she shows up, it feels like every line of the movie is designed to be profound in some way, which is both intentionally and unintentionally hilarious at once, because they're kind of laughing at their characters getting in their own way at life, but having these big profound thoughts. But it's also really badly written. Like, so that's the unintentional hilarity of it. So, like, for an example, Jamie Dornan and Rosemary Muldoon are always making goo-goo eyes at each other, and they're down at the horse stable, and they're having a heart-to-heart, and he says, "When my mother died, I couldn't see colors anymore."
Where do we go when we die? The sky.
The ground.
Then what's the sky for?
It's for now. The sky is for now.
The sky is for now. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I also just want to congratulate you on a better accent than 90%.
Right?
Yeah.
It feels like the writer was on Irish peyote writing this movie. Like, it just oozes from disparate thought to disparate thought, and somehow it's supposed to all make you feel, I don't know, like romantic? I
was saying to my sister, it was like, I don't remember watching a movie that was so boring that had also so many things happening that we were just supposed to accept somehow. And like, that's the character.
That's a good point. It is also very, very boring.
No, I fell asleep.
Oh my God.
I fell asleep twice. I had to like...
No, Bishki, no.
No, I fell asleep.
Not allowed.
I don't usually.
I fell asleep once. I did like nod out for like 34 minutes in, but I woke up. I got alert.
Amateurs.
And I had to restart it, go back a little ways because I
Thank you.
drifting.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
you can't
boring.
miss anything.
And I think there's traditional Irish music playing in the background throughout the entire thing.
It can lull you to sleep.
I fell asleep during a bar scene where they were all singing a song, a shanty. And
I think that lulled me to sleep as well. That was just
besides that, the sound was terrible, but there would just be like loud, like nature noises too, like crows or bugs crows. Or whatever, just like very loud.
It's unsettling all around. There's a point where Walken muses a bit about ham, which I thought was funny considering what an automatic ham sandwich he is in every movie he's in.
It's in the fridge. Would you have a piece?
If you want ham, have it. Don't be offering me my own ham.
So the bones of the plot are like, they're almost too silly to even get into.
Like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but it involves a contested small plot of land that has these two gates on it that is making life difficult for these two neighboring farms to coexist because they always have to get out and open two gates.
Those fucking gates.
And I know. And I instantly made a connection to another movie where gates play a huge part of it, and that's Cameron Crowe's Aloha, which kind of has the same exact tone of this movie where everything's just off.
Yeah, everything's off. Yeah.
That whole movie is about gates, like a visitor gate that's getting installed in Hawaii. Yes, that's like a huge part of that movie.
Yikes.
So
I've never seen Aloha,
I made that gate connection.
But you know, you're making it sound very. You're making the Wild Mountain Thyme gate thing sound very apparent and obvious, but really when you're watching it, because the accents are so bad, I am not clear on what it is they're really talking about. And so when like 30 minutes in, you're like, what is this about? Like, is this a romantic comedy? Like, what is this? A drama? Like, I don't get.
Like, what are the stakes?
Yeah, I don't get what's going on. And you're like, what you're saying makes sense, but it took me a while to piece that together.
Of course, because that shouldn't be the plot of a movie. But to help you out, there is a point where Walken says, I did write this down, where Walken says,
I need these gates down.
So
got it.
I think that's supposed to answer all your questions.
And then it was like, you're an O'Reilly or whatever, Riley, or you're a Kelly, or and my sister was like, I don't think that's his dad. And I was like, well, they're both Tony. Like, they are. That's his dad. Like, there were so many points where we had to kind of clear things up for each other.
Mm-hmm. It is very confusing, and it's also kind of funny that Walken's deceased wife in this was apparently named Mary Riley, like the movie Mary Riley,
which I've also never seen.
with Mary Riley with Julia Roberts. Yes. So this movie extra had me in the palm of its hand after Jamie Dornan, like he's out riding with Rosemary Muldoon. And he gives like this cheesy monologue straight off of a Hallmark card. And then he goes off, and Blunt just, with a completely straight face, wistfully muses to her horse Blister.
Oh, when he says those things, Blister, I know I must have him. God help me.
There's a lot of conversations happening betwixt humans and animals, and then like gags about it that aren't funny.
Yeah. Dornan proposes to a donkey?
A donkey, yes. And that is like, that's supposed to be the funniest thing. Like, if we were to see this in like an art house theater, that would get the bales of laughter that they were going for. But at home, just watching this, no. You're not going to... They make like 25 donkey proposal jokes in this. And it's supposed to hit you funnier and funnier every time. Oh, so I think the scene where Lucas fell asleep was when when Rosemary Muldoon sings the title song Wild Mountain Thyme at the pub, and Walken, they keep cutting to him for a reaction, and at first he looks kind of, again, like menacing, like he's about to shoot up the place. And then he tries to pull up some tears, and you realize the whole time he was just trying to drum up those tears. Mm-hmm. Just some amazing shots of Walken really trying to connect with the material. Like, God bless him.
Yeah, he was committed, dialed in.
But that fucking song, will ye go, lassie, go, and we'll all go together. Like, that has been stuck in my head for 5 days. And it has not gone anywhere.
Play it if you can on the cast at some point.
I have to. I want to infect everybody's fucking head with this. I want you all to feel this pain.
You know, it's funny. It just dawned on me why. It's because the underlying like musical theme of Wild Mountain Thyme, if you close your eyes and squint, is Celine Dion's Titanic, right? It's like it's got some like Titanic recorder or something, or
sure.
There's some like, I don't know, like it just brings me back to that.
It also feels like he found a song that he could use like rights free, right?
Oh yes,
and needed this, and it was like, how can I write a play about this song?
Yeah, like it's not a Cranberries song. Like this is a public access song.
Yeah.
So that happens, and all the while Jamie Dornan's he's just having trouble getting up the courage to propose to Rosemary Muldoon. And I think it's supposed to be cute, but it is so annoying. Like they both want to be together. They're both bizarre human beings that deserve each other. And he just can't get it together. And it's not cute. Like, it's not charming. This is not Hugh Grant hemming and hawing. This is somebody who seems like he has a dark secret, like he's a serial killer or something. And it's preventing him from doing the normal human thing. And we'll get to that. We'll get to what that big secret is.
It kept giving me kind of The Lobster vibes. Like that it was just, it felt off the whole time, and I didn't know what to think of any of it.
For me, the movie felt like like a bunch of SNL digital shorts, but with the jokes cut out, where like, you know, you're just seeing all the like straight takes or whatever, and you're like waiting.
They're like SNL in
Ireland, like you know, like one of those fake trailers at the beginning of Tropic Thunder, you know, like Forbidden Love.
Yes. I wrote that down right here. I'm like, seems like an extended SNL skit from deep in the show when Emily Blunt's hosting and they just didn't know. She thought she could do an Irish accent and they just pushed him out there.
Or even Christopher Walken.
That is exactly
Christopher
right.
Walken will be like,
it was cut for time.
We were
It was cut for time.
Lodge Master was speaking of ham. Let's get to the ham.
And then who the fuck shows up but Dornan's American cousin, Jon motherfucking Hamm. It's Hammy, all right. And it's almost as if Walken's little ham musings from earlier was a wee bit of foreshadowing, because you do not expect Jon Hamm to walk into this movie.
Essentially playing his Mad Men character.
Yes. Yes.
One note.
I don't know why he's there, other than, again, a trip to Ireland and working with the great John Patrick Shanley. Like, did anybody read this script, or did they just glaze over? Like, they have the free trip to Ireland in their mind in the forefront. They're like, free trip to Ireland. And then that glazes over any issues they might have with the script. They're like, oh, we'll work it out on the day. It's fine. We're going to Ireland. Like, that's what it feels like. I don't think anybody read this thing.
I would probably do the same thing. You know?
Right, yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Like, these actors are only human, you know? So, and you get to work with Walken. Like, just imagining the behind the scenes Walken shit. I mean, he probably just went off and went to bed. But, like, just imagining the hijinks you'd get into with Christopher Walken in Ireland is enough.
Jon Hamm's going to, like, Trump golf courses and shit, you know? Like, he's like, really...
He's having a good time. So there's that. Hamm's in the picture, and he's creating a bit of a love triangle with Emily Blunt and Jamie Dornan. And Dornan's totally getting cucked. He's totally he's off with his metal detector, just off being a super geek. And Hamm's moving in. Hamm's moving in on his territory. And it's just like, what are we watching here? And then Walken appears to be on his deathbed in this film, his character. And he gives some choice line deliveries. At one point, he's talking to Jamie Dornan. Again, he's on his bed. And he says, "Last night, I saw a star down near the ground. Tell me, son.
Have you ever seen a star down low?
And I was thinking, yeah, I've seen a movie star go pretty low, and his name be Chris Walken. Like, is he serious in this scene? Like, did he really think he was going for some sort of award? I don't know what award, like Irish Oscars?
I felt bad because, yeah, you're right. This was like the Oscar clip moment, and he was so, again, dialed in and committed. But I was just laughing at that point. Like, I was laughing at how funny it was, because 2 scenes before that, you know, he's like proposing, like his son's proposing to a donkey or something. Like, it's just like so abrupt. Like, all of a sudden I'm supposed to accept that this is now like, you know,
serious,
like a deathbed scene that felt like it should have been happening at the very end of the movie an hour later.
Yes.
I was like, this doesn't track.
The whole thing, seemingly, the movie is like a week long or something, right? Like, it's everything just happens like in a week.
It's very condensed. It's very condensed.
Which is probably how long they had to shoot. So
Exactly. And Walken, like, the meat of his deathbed monologue is so fucking weird and magical that I just have to play it for you. Like, there's no way I could do it remote justice here.
I can't name the day the rain lit up. The sun shone on me. I started in singing, just like that old song, Mom's song. Do you know it?
Sure I do.
And they'll all go together. You were a good son.
Thanks, Dad.
I have faith that love will find you out in those fields.
I don't want you to die.
I'm sorry. I sold that bit by the road and left you with 2 gates.
What's up with these fucking gates? Walken keeps going and he keeps giving like an Irish spring. He keeps just flowing with this deathbed monologue. And then he's gone, obviously. So the movie suffers with you don't have Walken wandering about.
Yeah.
So all we're left with is this love triangle.
I was really confused because he's also like in a wool sweater vest and like a collared shirt. And so I was like, well, he can't be dying. Like, that would be a weird way to do that, right? And then he just was never back. So I was like, oh, he did die.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't totally clear. I mean, he didn't take the oxygen, but I was like, is that going to kill him? I don't know. Like, I wasn't totally clear that he was dead.
Except for that we know he's dead because he says it.
I'm dead.
So in another bizarre scene, Blunt flies off to New York to hang out with Hamm, and she's only there for one day.
I mean, when she starts dancing to Swan Lake, like out of nowhere, I believe that's the salad dragon, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I feel like there's 2 kind of mini her dancing salad dragons. The one is when she's a little girl and then is on the horse and her dad slaps the horse's ass and she rides off.
That's a good mini one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I have another one coming up, but that's down the road a little bit. So, yeah, she's obsessed with Swan Lake. She's like, my daddy said that I'm the white swan. And she she looks across the skyline of quote unquote New York and she says,
it's like teeth, isn't it?
Come again?
The buildings look like teeth.
Okay.
Hamm reacts like the exact way that he should react. He just says, okay. Like, that's the only time where there's any sanity in this movie is when he is just like, you've lost the plot a bit, ma'am, but I'm still here for you.
And there's like not that many lines in the movie. And so when they do that, when they focus on these weird things, it's like, how is this important for me? Do I need to know this? No, it's just like a throwaway whatever.
Mm-hmm. You really don't need to know anything that is being said in this movie. Hamm gives her a kiss and she kind of flips out and flies home immediately the next day. So she goes back to Ireland and a storm's a brewing. The animals seem to know it. The music is super serious. And Dornan comes over and they're going to have it out during this rainstorm. in her house. And all the while, Hamm is supposedly flying back to Ireland. So, yeah, again, this is all taking place in like a week. She's flown out to New York for a day, and like the next day he flies back to Ireland. Like, when are these people sleeping? And why aren't they just constantly vomiting from traveling so much? So anyway.
Tons of Aer Lingus going on. Tons of Aer Lingus.
Yeah. Sponsor.
So much.
Sponsor.
So much. So this storm is raging, and this scene between them just gets sillier and sillier and sillier. It feels, again, like a horror movie. It's like a romantic horror comedy almost, because they're both talking about like suicide, and like she's got a gun. She's got like a shotgun that she keeps ready to blow her brains out at all times. Like, is this supposed to be charming?
He keeps threatening to leave, and she's like, you need to drink a half of another beer. And like, it felt like it should have been this climax that was not. I felt uncomfortable.
I thought she was going to blow her brains out. I didn't know what was
I did too. Yeah. Or murder-suicide. Mm-hmm. There's a part where there's an ebb in their crazy manic byplay that's going on. And she says, this is lines of dialogue.
It's good that you're tall. Men are beasts. They need that height to balance the truth and the goodness of women.
Well, there's no answer to blather like that.
No, there is no answer to blather like that, because it makes no fucking sense. None of this makes any sense.
It's like a poorly translated fortune cookie.
Yes.
Like most of the lines.
A poorly translated Irish fortune cookie is what this is.
Yeah.
And if that sounds good to you, have at it. Like, this movie will take care of you in that department.
Have you ever wondered what I wore when I wore less?
You've lost me.
Have you seen me naked in your mind?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Rosemary, naked? Shut up with that. I see you at church.
You say I'm beautiful. Have you thought about my shape?
Oh.
Have you thought of my posture or my figure? Have you looked at my shape? Have you felt my shape?
Oh, there is nothing less sexy than whatever the fuck is going on in that house. Like, it is just folie à deux up the ass, and I want no part of it. I would exit that house immediately and run. I would go back to New York and hang out with Jon Hamm, hang out at the ballet. But no, I think this is supposed to be just like an emotional crescendo.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Just in case you don't care, it blows that emotional climax out the window and into the sheets of fucking rain for what I call the second salad dragon from here on out.
Double Dragon.
From here on out, dragons dwell. Like, this movie has lost all pretense of making any sense. And it all comes down to this stupid twist that there's been a minor furor over it online of people just like trying to figure out what the hell it means. And again, like, it can't be overstated how much rain is falling on these two poor actors. Like, they must have been freezing. They're soaked to the bone. They're doing that thing where there's so much rain falling on their face that they can barely speak. They're like, like they're trying to get their words out. And she's basically like, listen, man, I can't even do anymore. I'm all out of Irish accent gas here, but she's basically like, listen, dude, what the fuck? Why haven't you proposed to me? And he lays down the stupidest twist of all of cinema. He says something to the effect of, he believes himself to be a honeybee, and he believes that she is a flower. Literally. He literally thinks that he's a bee. And I've read a lot of material about this, a lot of people that reviewed the play that were trying to figure out, oh, is there some kind of symbolism with that? No. Consensus is that's the movie. That's the plot. He thinks he's a fucking bee. That's the twist.
Tell me, standing on this holy land of Ireland, why shouldn't you marry me?
I see things. I'm delusional.
For the love of God, woman, I think I'm a bug.
So what? Sometimes I think I'm a house cat.
You do not.
No, but I don't stay with it because I know I'm a swan.
Maybe that's where my like lobster vibes snuck in too a little bit.
I
It was
think
like
so.
this
I think so.
very strange, but like not exciting twist.
No, not exciting at all. But again, like Lucas said, there was nobody that got in the way of this. This is a pure Irish peyote addled vision. There was nobody that stepped in the way.
I was projecting so hard that when he said he was a honeybee, I thought he said something like, "I'm like a Miles bee," or like a name. I thought honeybee was like an Irish name, and I was like, "Oh, they're related." Like
I'm of the Miles bee.
yeah,
clan.
like he's her
you thought they
brother.
were related.
Yeah, like I thought he's like, "I'm a honeybee. Like you're my fucking sister. Like I can't have sex
That
with
would have
you."
been better, maybe.
That would have been much better.
And I was like, "Oh, they're kin." Like
That's a live rewrite.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
I was way off. Yeah, I was like rewinding. I was like, wait, no, they're not. He means like an actual. You're right.
That's
Bloodmaster,
way
like-
better.
It's way better.
That would have been like a cute thing too, like Miles B. It's like a little name, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and then if they decide to go forth in their torrid love affair, that's a decision. That's a hard Irish decision to, you're a Miles B, I'm a Miles B, and yet let's go off and be in love. Like that takes a little balls. Like I would like to see that. This line is spoken by Emily Blunt with sheets of rain just assaulting her. Mm-hmm. She says,
What do I have to do? Do I have to swat at you to get you to sting me?
"Do I have to swat at you to get you to sting me?"
I didn't even ever catch that.
She rolls with this bee thing so immediately that she has that chambered. And then he says,
I'm afraid.
What?
Of love.
and then the big kiss
They
as
make
water
out.
just cascades down onto them. Buckets, probably literal buckets, are being thrown at these people. So that's a big moment. That's a big moment in movie history. And Hamm meets a woman on his flight very conveniently, and so he's paired
The
off.
cuts to his flight were something special, man.
The lingus, so much lingus going
so
on.
much air lingus,
Such
romantic
hacky
comedy
shit,
going on.
man. That is like a studio note 101.
But like, yeah, you must be single because nobody's told you snore, or like it's just like cringy.
Yeah.
And you just
Cringy.
imagine John Patrick Shanley, after so many of these howler lines, he pours himself a glass of whiskey, takes a sip, and calls it a day. He's done his work. Oh my God. So then they go back to the pub and they sing Wild Mountain Thyme one more time to just drill it deep into your fucking frontal lobe. And they look out over the audience, and the entire cast, living and
that's
dead,
another studio note.
sitting
man.
in the
It's
audience.
like studio notes just raining in that screening room.
And Walken's back. Walken's singing along, looking like Bob Dylan in "We Are the World," just not knowing the words.
I mean,
Oh
there
my
was a lot of death in this movie.
Shit.
Yeah.
And then they bring them all back, and you're like, oh shit. I didn't care about any of you dying. Like, none of this carried any weight.
No one is Irish. No one is Irish. Not even Jamie Dornan. I don't believe you.
And then Walken comes back to wrap up the narration. He's kind of like, remember what I said about telling a story? Yeah, well, I'm back, and now it's over.
Do you think, I almost feel like that wasn't like an edit after, like, oh, people didn't realize that he died. We need to like tell them right away.
Could be. Yeah.
Do you think there were any test screenings with this,
No.
or did the studio
that's-
just look at it and they were like, "Listen, there's a pandemic raging. This is gonna. Hopefully, people have had enough wine that they'll just let this be."
Trust me, there's no amount of wine.
26% fresh critics, 39% fresh audience.
That's
so
pretty low,
there is
man.
a little wine bump. There is a little 13% wine bump that the audience gave this. But whoo, what a fucking movie. Let's go to them Irish bones. All right. Oh, who do we pick out here? Oh, Brother Bishki. Love and light, love and light. Hey.
This be a magical movie. Nothing feels real. In
See,
this
a little
movie.
Jamaican. Little Jamaican slips in. I love it.
Jamaican slipping in there. Yeah, nothing feels real. The dialogue, the acting, the story, everything's off. This is, I think Lodgemaster said they were going for People's Choice. I think they had much higher hopes for this movie. I think they were.
I think they did.
I think they were thinking prestige. They've gone horribly wrong in that calculation. Walken had me laughing in every scene.
Yes. He's an American classic.
You've got two, super attractive actors. You got 50 Shades of Grey, Jamie Dornan, and Emily Blunt just throwing herself at him. And you don't believe for a second that they're like not.
No.
Like, why? Mm-mm. Where is the resistance here, you two attractive actors? Like,
he's got to be a B. That's the only explanation.
Yeah. You got to cast normal looking Irish people if you're going to even make this like anywhere near believable.
Normal looking Irish people.
A bit of the normal.
A bit of the normal, because it's just ridiculous. As I said, I fell asleep twice. It's a beautiful setting. I do love Ireland. I've been there, and I hope to return there. I'm 1/8 Irish. And so for that, I give it a little love and light. I give it a half bone for the setting. And Christopher Walken gets a full bone, because this might be the last time we see him. And
this might be it.
Like Christopher Walken with an Irish accent. Do yourself a favor. You don't have to watch this whole movie, but watch the first third and see Christopher Walken.
Somebody on YouTube will slice this up. It might be me.
Yeah.
And they'll just
we need a
give you
Walken
all the good parts.
supercut. We need a Walken supercut, but I'm going to give it 1.5 bones. Much of the love is
beautiful.
for Walken. And this movie is way off the charts in terms of, Rotten Tomatoes speaks for itself. Like, wow.
It does. 1.5 is very sweet of you, Bishki, and I appreciate that.
I do have a little love and light for that Irish countryside.
Let's see if that sweetness carries over to young Lucas, Tate.
Yeah, I knew we were in for something special when there were no less than like 7 different company logo burns at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
where you forget what movie.
Plenty of logos.
You forget what movie you're watching because you're like, gosh, like there's like a lot of money from a lot of different places in this movie. And then you realize it's because Patrick Shanley was just uncompromising in his casting decisions. Because, Brother Bishki's right. Like, he definitely needed 100% like authentic Irish actors in all roles.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Emily Blunt one is crucial. And I was thinking this should have been a discovery. Like, it should have been, like an Emily Watson or Saoirse Ronan, but for 2020.
Yeah.
Who looks down to earth, who looks like a farm girl, who looks like a horse girl, who might not be good with
very Princess Bride.
like who might not be good with
Robin Wright.
like other people.
We need a horse girl,
but also like it's funny because like Jon Patrick Shanley, like he knows how to do comedy with Joe versus the Volcano, and he knows how to do drama with like Doubt. But in this movie, he was like, we're gonna do it all. We're gonna do both. Like, I've earned it, or I can do it. But he didn't do it, like, because it was just tonally uneven and a total mess. Because, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be laughing or crying, and then when Christopher Walken's crying, I'm laughing. I'm just like, this is like upside down, because nobody told Jon Patrick Shanley no, like, you shouldn't do this.
Can't say no.
And I kept trying to project like darker shit onto it, because you're right, and I didn't realize it was because of the way it was shot and edited. Because the cinematography was amazing, and like and with the rain at the end, it was beautiful. It should have been funnier, I guess. Like I see a premise in there somewhere, so I'm gonna give it 1 bone, because like Brother Bishki, like I love the setting. Like I've never been to Ireland, but I so love the setting, and it's like there is something magical, and there are like folk tales and like stories and things like that. And I just don't think they set it up. Like John Patrick Shanley didn't set it up properly or something. Like I just didn't buy that they were farmers. None of them were farmers. Not one of them. And like, yeah, the beginning with like
they've never worked the land.
Funeral. Like I didn't buy the I don't know. Like none of it. Yeah, you're right. Everything felt off. Like it was just like an elaborate prank. Like they were just pranking you or something.
You got punked, Irish punked. One bone from Brother LT, and that's huge for you. Like any other time of year, maybe it's the season and you're feeling some love in your heart, but this would be an Emerald Isle woof from you, I think, in any other time of the year. So I'm happy that this caught you at just the right time to give it that one bone. All right, Sister Emma, lay it down. Be merciless, but follow your heart.
It feels like a movie that should easily write itself, right? Like there should be no stumbling blocks, and yet they found the guts Nickelodeon show of like everything was just really hard to stomach.
They made it hard for us.
And I kept thinking like, oh, the next scene will explain what this is.
No way.
And there was never a scene to pull anything together. I didn't realize that it was Walken in the voiceover because I thought there was no way Christopher Walken would be the voiceover. So when I saw him, I gasped.
It was an emotional experience for you.
And then laughed because I realized that he had been doing an Irish, quote unquote, Irish accent in a voiceover. So for that, I give it a bone because I think that was the wildest choice that they made.
That's the wildest mountain thyme that they sprinkled onto this.
I guess combined with that, the beauty of the place.
Yes, of course.
I have to just. It's a one bone.
It's a one boner.
I can't recommend it. I had a friend say, "How was it?" And I was like, "It wasn't good. Like it was not. Don't watch it."
But are you glad that you saw it?
Yeah. So maybe that's like where my bone count lies. Is like we're on my list. We're on my count. Can I say I'm happy enough to watch it? Sure.
And may I remind you, we're in 2020, which is, objectively one of the worst years ever. So
100%. And I'm being generous.
Yes, you are. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to push it any further.
This is a quarantine bump bone of a movie.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
We'll lock that in. Final answer.
Hit the buzzer.
And you are absolutely correct. This is a one bone movie, and there's no other way to slice it. One bone is exactly right. Bishke is on some Irish peyote of his own.
I am.
And that's why he's going above.
I give it a half.
He's got a lot of Irish in it, a little love and light.
Look at my red beard. Come on.
He's got a beard in the game here. So there's an episode that we did, episode 58, if you want to go back and get the full history. And it was a movie called Where'd You Go, Bernadette?
I knew you were going to say that. I was going to say it. I was like, don't say it. No need to say it. Like, we've been there. We've done that.
It's a movie called Where'd You Go, Bernadette? And it stars Cate Blanchett. And everything about that movie is off. It's just off. It's like it was all in sync, and then you move the top layer 3 frames over, so everything's fucked up. But it looks like it's normal. It looks like it's prestige. It looks like it's good. But oh boy. Yeah. And it's the something smells good in Stinkville theory, where when everything is rotten, it kind of smells good and you can't stay away from it and you got to keep sniffing it. And that's why I was on the edge of my seat. Boring as it was, I was like, what the fuck is going to happen?
Yeah.
Because this movie, it is unbound. It is untethered from any reality.
It can't be this boring the whole time. So you keep expecting something to be exciting.
A twist.
And then when something crazy happens, you're like, it can't be this crazy the whole time. It is at once crazy and boring and sexy and cool. So it's one bone, but I push against, LT is very traditional when it comes to the bone count. And there is no way you could ever recommend a one bone movie to people. Oh, it is so forbidden. It is just simply not done. But I give this one bone, and I tell every one of our listeners, wait until it's not $20 fucking to rent, but see this movie when it comes out on Netflix. It's a laundry folding movie.
Laundry folding certified.
When you watch this silly film, you should be folding laundry. Folding, folding, oh yeah.
Turn it on, turn it up, and by then, this episode will just be a misty emerald memory in your mind, and you won't remember the specifics, but they'll hit you so fucking hard. When that walk-in voiceover comes on, oh, you're going to knock over your laundry, you're going to have to refold it. And then you're going to knock it over on purpose and refold it again because you'll want to see what happens. So check it out. It's a glowing one bone review for me. So there you have it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, glowing one bone.
It's no cats.
It's no cats, which Emma joined us for.
No.
And that was a magical
That's a 3-bone
experience
movie.
1 year ago.
Yeah.
Felt like 10 years ago, but that is a 3-bone movie. But
Through and through.
Yes.
Wow.
which I saw
stand by
3
it.
times in theaters. Yeah.
Wow.
Do not, as they say, get it twisted. This is not on the level of Cats at all. It's a different kind of movie. It's a different kind of pain. And it's a different kind of reward. So we probably put more thought and talk into this than the entire cast and crew combined.
Yeah.
Of this
That's
film.
a fact. That is a fact.
I feel good about that.
I agree.
And Sister Emma, thank you for taking the
Thank
journey
you.
with us.
Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
My pleasure. I mean, kind of, but
We'll have you back in a year then,
yeah.
at least, or sooner.
Oh, so much love and light to y'all. Oh, so much love and light.
I believe that I'm a honeybee.
If my true love, she were gone, I will surely find another to pull Wild Mountain Thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck Wild Mountain Thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? Will you go, lassie, go? Will you go, lassie, go?
This be a magical movie.